ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Ricky's podcast, the one and only. Except for the other one that's also on YouTube. We're still sponsored by nobody, so go down to the link below for a chance to win absolutely nothing. Yeah, man. Alright, we're back. We got a new theme song. What do you guys think of it? I can kind of dig it, Pretty cool, but I don't know. Let me know what you think. I had it kind of in my back pocket. I'd use it for something else. It was an instrumental to a different thing I did a few years ago. But, now it gets to be theme song music. So, circle of life. All right. You guys don't know this, but a couple days ago, I tried recording this episode, man. And, dude, I got 30 minutes, half an hour into the episode, and I just decided to scrap it. It's deleted, man. It exists nowhere in the universe, Because, and you guys aren't missing anything. I mean, listen back to the episode. It's 30 minutes of me trying to think of what to say. And honestly, basically this intro right here is already significantly better than the whole 30 minutes. So, yeah. So you're welcome, ladies and gentlemen, for not unleashing the abomination that is 30 minutes of nonsense onto your ears. I don't know. If you guys actually want to hear some nonsense, I don't know. Leave a comment. It's no effort on my behalf just to, make things up for a half an hour trying to think of what to say with nothing of any kind of note. But anywho, I'm here on a lovely, lovely Friday afternoon, and I'm good to go, man. What we got today? I brought in my car to 2 brake maxes. The first one, the week before, I don't know what it is, but for some reason, anything wrong that happens with my car, it all has to happen at once. So the week before, the AC went out, which in Arizona is it's kind of a life-threatening ordeal. Your AC goes out in your car. So had to bring it into the brake max. They filled it with, what's it called? I always forget the name, man. But filled up with that. I get it back, all's good for like the first hour, and then all of a sudden AC goes out again. Turns out I forget the other part. I don't think it's condenser, compressor, one of those. One of those is all whack. So they had to replace that. Luckily they didn't charge for what's it? I'm forgetting all my words today. Hold up. They didn't charge for labor or anything else, so they just charged me for the part, pretty much, for that one. So that was pretty cool of them. Pretty nice. So I got that done, picked it up last week, and so today was just, bring it in so that they could do the dye test, and then I get it back and it's all good. So, hallelujah, we've got AC now, so yep, I will not be dying for a little while longer. However, I did have to bring it into a different brake max because my windshield cracked. Yeah, just driving down the freeway, on my way home one afternoon. And I'm driving, and it's not. And I mean, look, the other times my windshield's gotten cracked, it's always the same story. I get stuck behind one of those giant, semi things that just has, just like a bucket of rocks in the back for some reason. What is that, by the way? I've always wondered, because I see those all the time, but I have no idea why they would have rocks. And it's not even just rocks, in the back, but they're rocks and the top's just straight up open. I don't know if it's their job to, break windshields, I don't know if they work for the insurance company just to, make sure you're keeping up to date on your payments or something, but, it's bizarre. I actually am not entirely sure what it's for. And especially that it's just an open top. I don't know why they do it. Maybe they just throw like, sometimes they just throw like a little cloth thing on top of it. But, that doesn't do anything. It's absolutely bizarre. I don't know what that's all about. But, usually, yeah, that's the story. I get stuck behind one of those things. I remember the last time I got stuck getting onto the freeway, stuck behind it. And it's just, there's nowhere I could have gone. So, boom, take the hit. And you got it cracked, son. But this time it was just a freak accident, man. I just go, I'm driving down on my way to work. And somehow the SUV beside me somehow kicks up a rock with just a perfect trajectory so that it flies just horizontally and it hits my windshield just, on the driver's side, of course. So, and then, the crack winds up, expanding over the next like couple hours or so. And it just turns into a whole thing. So it's like, so I had to bring it in for that. It took him a couple hours to get the guy down there. Half an hour, or not half an hour, an hour and a half to get the guy down there. And then another half an hour for him to replace the windshield. And dude, man, I don't know what it is, man. I tell you, I still believe it. I still believe that I've got to be, if not the, like, perhaps top 5, like, luckiest human beings to ever exist in the universe, man. I'm pretty up there, But man, when the world decides that I ought to be unlucky for a bit, I mean, it really does not disappoint, So I'm there, cracked windshield, that's one thing. But then I get down there and, I've just got to hunker down for 2 hours. I'm sitting there. And I guess, one of the evidence that, I am the luckiest man alive is that I did have my mask on during that thing. But my allergies just decided to just, how do you do? Don't worry, we'll just make ourselves right at home in your nose, And I still got a little bit going right now. So if the audio is a little bit, if I'm sounding a little extra ratchet today, it's my allergies, man. Allergies are acting up. But yeah, my allergies just decided to blow up, man. And dude, like, think about just the worst runny nose you've ever gotten, and it's like 8 times that, man. No joke, my mask was soaking wet with snot. Dude, I took it out because when 2 hours was over, I go back to the car, take off my mask. Literally, there were pools just, all up on the inside of the mask. Like, I had to take it off, and you can't see me, but I had to take it off, like, with my head leaning down, because otherwise the pools of snot would just, drip down on my clothes. And some of it did, regardless. It was like the pools were trying to, like, creep down the bottom, and some of it was, like, leaking down the chin, and it's just, like, and I'm just trying my best to just keep it all together, man. Like, I imagine, I mean, of course I have no idea, but I always imagine that must be what it's like, man, if you're just, like, really drunk or really high, just sitting there in a public place, just like, okay, man, we're gonna make it through this, just keep it together. Keep it together and it'll all be okay. Just don't worry about the fluids leaking out of your body. All will be good. So, man, I had that. Man, I had, while I was there at the office, Max, I attended my classes virtually. The lucky thing about my Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning classes, the good thing about those is that they really don't ask for a whole lot of class participation, Because pretty much, especially, I got music history especially. And, theory a little bit too, but music history, man, like, you literally can just, hit play and literally, the professor, he doesn't call on anybody. Actually, he's actually never called on a single person the entire semester thus far. He's required 0 class participation. So, say what you will about that as a teaching practice, but, as a kid, as a guy who's just wanting to clock in, clock out with, minimal effort and wants to be able to just sit in the middle of the office max while he's doing his classwork, it bodes well for me. So that happened. Well, we had just turned in a paper for the class, which, I mean, I'm just going to sidebar, just real quick, man, to talk about the paper. I mean, dude, holy cow. That assignment, I gotta think about it, but I'm pretty sure that assignment and the questions asked within were the most it was probably the most cryptic assignment I think I've ever gotten from a class for school. I mean, it's just like the questions made no sense. The links led to nowhere. He had links in the questions, and it's like, go here for the information. I click the link, and it just leads to nowhere. And then also, I'll just click the link. I remember one time, it took me to an article that was all in French. I mean, yeah, think about that for a second, you're living in Arizona, America, and just boom, they just expect you to speak French fluently, hope you've got that skill on lockdown before you, show up to the class, otherwise you're screwed, So I had that. I just had to just assume what things meant, just hope that the English was, kind of close to the French, And I just, but dude, cryptic as hell if you actually followed the assignment. Now, here's the thing, man, because that's the most cryptic assignment I think I've ever gotten in my life. And it's just the most non-user friendly assignment, ever given to anyone ever. But luckily for me and the rest of the class, the TA was kind of onto the shenanigans. So, being an absolute gangster like he is, shout out, by the way, Benjamin, the TA. Don't remember his last name, but, shout out to him, man, because he really pulled through for this one, man. He had a couple emails where he's just like, yeah, by the way, here's the actual link that actually leads to a place, And also, by the way, here's the version of the article that isn't in French, So, he really pulled through, man. I was so grateful for Ben, man. Really, really pulled through. I was so grateful. I actually wrote him a note at the end of my essay, just being like, thank you, man. Thank you, man. Real MVP, man, Benjamin. So that was weird. What was extra weird is that he called it a paper, but it's really not a paper, He keeps referring to it as a paper, an essay, and you think of a paper essay, you're like, yeah, you just, you write, you got a subject, you think of your response, you write your paragraphs, just bada bing, bada boom. But no, this essay was it was basically just normal homework. I mean, it's just questions and then answer these questions here. So that's not a paper. So, that's also, I mean, in comparison to everything else, it's kind of small potatoes. But, it's still a pretty weird thing. I would probably change up the wording as to what to call the assignment in the future. And also, while you're at it, I would also update, the questions themselves and the links. Because they just, yeah, that assignment, man, dude. If Benjamin hadn't sent those emails explaining the assignments, man, I'm not entirely sure I would have actually been able to even start it. I actually, just reading the questions, man, I don't have them on me right now, but it's like, it was to the point that I didn't even know how to start. I was just so confused. I didn't know how to start. And it's likely that, if that had gone on, I still wouldn't have known how to start by the end of the or by the end of by when it was due. So that happened. That was pretty crazy. But anywho, so that was, that's just a whole tangent. Just thought I'd tell you folks. Yeah. Music history, I'm talking, of course, about what's it, like second year music history for anybody who cares at all. If you go to the U of A, it's your second year of music history, not including like, jazz history, but, second year of just general Western music history. It's that. And dude, the class is pretty interesting. We haven't really gotten too into the kind of sexy stuff. I mean, for comparison, man, like we're still looking at Gregorian chants. So we're really like, we're at the beginning of music, man. I tell you, you show up to the club, tell the DJ to throw on some old school shit. This is as old school as it gets, man. Just some Gregorian chants. So, but the one thing that's convenient is that because we have quizzes where it's like, here's a piece of music, what time period is it from, who wrote it, what's it called. And at this early stage, at least, those are fairly easy because, what is it? It's a psalm, You don't need to know which psalm it is. You just have to know it is a psalm. It's a Gregorian chant. And luckily, who wrote it? Who knows? These were all written by anonymous monks. So, you don't got to memorize anything. So at least the quizzes thus far have been pretty chill. Yeah, we just got our first composer who we actually had to remember by name. Like, I think either Wednesday or Monday. I don't know, but, So thus far, it's been pretty chill because we got our next quiz sometime next week. I think Friday. And thus far, the only composer we have to remember is just one dude. I don't remember his name, but I'll just look at his name before the quiz, But yeah, so that happened. So anyways, yeah, that's all about music history. That's really the only thing of note that's happened. Otherwise it's a relatively normal class. The paper really surprised me because the other assignments they haven't been that bad. Because I've taken another course. I don't mean to call any class or anyone out, but who cares? First of all, nobody's listening to this podcast. I've said it a million times, say it again. Nobody's listening. And if there is someone listening, they're not going to care, But anywho, what's it? I think human evolution. There's a class that's like called the human evolution or something. I took it last semester. But dude, that class just as a whole, it had the most, just pound for pound, it had the most cryptic and just misleading questions I've ever seen in a class. But even those, they don't hold a candle to just the pure, like Greek oracle levels of, crypticness that was, the last paper here. But just as a whole, the class, just everything was just so misleading. All the questions sounded like there were other questions, It's like, I remember one of the, like, for example, I think one of the questions I remember was like something along the lines that is that the intentions of natural selection is to ensure that, organisms with the strongest or most well-adapted genes, is to ensure that these genes get passed on for generations and become the new norm. And you see that, and it's like, yeah, I remember natural selection from like, middle school or whenever you learned it, elementary school. And you're like, yeah, the whole point of natural selection, just making sure, survival of the fittest. It ensures that, the people with the strongest genes get to live, get to pass on those genes. But if you thought that, you'd be wrong. You want to know why you'd be wrong? You'd be wrong because Natural selection isn't a real human being or a living organism, so it has no intentions. Yeah, it's just a random force. So screw you, and you're wrong. They're all along those lines, man, of just pure bullshit of answers. So that's just the level of bananas I had to deal with, and ever since then, now I've kind of. If there is one good thing I can draw from human evolution, well, first of all, the class itself, the questions were bullshit, but the subject matter was pretty interesting, I would say. It's pretty nice. Some light science. The one thing I always, kind of irks me a bit about a lot of the sciences, just taking them that kind of brings them down for me, is that they're often just very dry and a lot of math. And listen, when I was in elementary school, I was actually considered to be pretty good at math. But also listen, man, back in elementary school, the problems we had to deal with were like 3 times 4 is 12, you know, fucking 6 times 3 is 18. That's what we're dealing with. We didn't have to deal with, solve this equation, see how many moles of, I don't know, potassium oxide it takes, to reach equilibrium in a solution of whatever the jizz is. And then if you're off by like a 0.0001, of a decimal point away from the answer, you're screwed. Sorry, buddy, but, answer wrong. That was my experience in chemistry, man. AP chemistry. I think senior year of high school, I think. Might have been junior. I don't quite remember. But yeah, that was pretty unfair, I felt. But luckily, human evolution, it's none of that. It's just all, interesting stuff, man. Evolutionary concepts. And look, whether you can feel free to disagree if you're like, if you're really into like creationism and you think that, the world was all created by God and, Adam and Eve were the first beings on Earth and the dinosaurs are a hoax, it's fine, whatever. But but the same thing for anyone else, it's interesting. Even if you think it's all bullshit, it's still at least interesting to see where science is at the moment, to be like, oh, this is how they think of things, even if you disagree, man. I don't, but but look, man, we live in a world where it's just, people are skeptical about different things. I believe the opposite, is also true, where it's like, let's say you're just the most staunch like atheist of all time. It's cool to know these, some of these biblical stories, or some of these things from the Bible or the Quran, or I don't know. I looked into it. The Buddhists don't have any kind of book, unfortunately, but whatever they believe in, the Hindus, they're interesting stories, and I do think that there's value, in them and in science as well, So, I don't know. That's just me, though. Yeah. Don't let me tell you what to do. You're your own person, strong, independent human being in the world. Don't need no man to tell you what to do, Anyways, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah, that's right, Breakmax. Yeah, we're finally looping back around on that one. Yeah, remember that at the beginning of the episode? But yeah, so anywho, go to the Breakmax, chilling out. I did my music history, and around the time it finished up was when the guy shows up, to get the key and to start working on the windshield. And so I started just chilling out. Now I gotta remember, because I told you guys at the beginning, I cut the last kind of episode I did because it was nonsense. So I'm trying to remember what I did and did not tell you guys. So if I'd already told you any of this, I'm sorry. So yeah, so I got HBO semi-recently, HBO Max. So I was kind of trying to see if I could take advantage of that. Well, I'm waiting there, but you know, so I was chilling out. You know, I said in the last podcast that I was getting into comic books, and I was shredding through some Batman, and they got some of the animated films on HBO. To some of the classic comic books. So I was looking, watching some Year One. Didn't get to finish it, but that's fine. I'll get to it eventually. But also, don't forget, man, dude, my nose was just Niagara Fallsing, just out of my, it was just crazy, man. And the whole thing, I was just trying to keep it together because there were some people sitting around me. Of course, socially distanced and all that jazz. But, we were all kind of on the same kind of long couch looking thing that they've got. And so I'm just trying to keep it together because I know that if I crack and they see just snot just, water falling out of my mask, they're going to be, in this climate, man. Rest in peace to anybody who has bad allergies because holy cow. Everybody's gonna think you got the corona, man. I tell you, everybody's all paranoid. Whether or not that's warranted or not, I don't know. But just everybody's just crazy about this stuff, man. You can't sneeze, man. I did pull a sneeze. Luckily, one of the ladies was nice and she's like, "Oh, bless you." But everybody else just, looked at me like I just busted through the doors and just been like, "Everybody get on the ground. This is a robbery, man." You get some looks, man, if you sneeze in a public place. I mean, it's, I'm sure you guys have been there, man, but it's like, it's no joke, bro, So I'm there just trying my absolute hardest to keep it all together. Just, while I just I can feel just my whole face being encased in this just snot-filled rag that has become my mask, and and I know you're probably like, "Hey Ricky, this is like way too much information, man. I'm trying to eat my lunch here. Could you mind not, describing your gunk-filled mask while I'm trying to eat? But you know what? It's my podcast, okay? It's my podcast, not yours. If you don't like it, you can skip ahead. But please stay on my podcast. Please, I need to watch time. Please, thank you. All right. But anywho, so I'm just sitting there trying to keep it together. And I mean, just a little funny aside that the guy sitting across from me just happened to be a minister, I mean, it doesn't play too much into the story, but I'm just like, he's just being a minister. So I'm just like, you know what, Mr. Man, I could really use some Jesus right now to take me through this situation. Yeah, so that was that. But earlier I had to call up the glass representative, which, I mean, I guess kind of makes sense. I mean, I guess you would have a person whose specialty is glass for cars. But I kind of thought it was a little funny though. We're just like, I go up to the front and it's like, "Yeah, I got to replace my windshield." And the guy is like, "Oh, okay, let me call up the glass representative, Just, he's the god of glass. And it's even funnier because when I called him up, picks up the phone and he's just like, "Yeah, man, what can I do for you? Yeah. And he was a cross between, what's his name from Red Letter Media? The guy who does those movie reviews. I don't know, it's like, "Welcome to Star Wars, the whatever. That guy from Red Letter Media. A cross between that guy and a stereotypical commercial pilot. Because every sentence he did was just, "All right, we're going to get that down for you really quick. So if I could just get your insurance information, that would be very nice. And you still with American Family? I think we still have you in our database. And went to the Break Max this morning. Just the whole conversation, man, was just all like that. And look, I'm not complaining, man, because let me tell you something, every time you call up like a customer service type of information, you get like, or you go up to a store or something, you're just talking to an employee, man. It seems like they're all either like that Southern hospitality type of, well, howdy, partner. Welcome to the store. How may I help you? Just over the top nice, Or alternatively, you could have the exact opposite, where it's just, just a punk kid just being like, yeah, man. Yeah, what can I do for you? Oh, yeah, right on. All right, right on. They always inexplicably have a stuffy nose. So sometimes it's nice to get something to just throw you a curveball, man. I think that's what we need in this world. More than anything, just something to shake it up. Cause, look, I feel for anybody, man, who's like, who's died because of the whole, coronavirus situation. Side note, I wonder how many times I can say coronavirus before my video gets... But who cares? It's not monetized anyways. Nobody cares. But it could be like, I don't know, blacklisted my channel or something because I talk about corona too much. But whatever. Nobody's watching this anyways. But yeah, feel for those guys. However, I will say that one thing, man. We really did need something. Just... At this point, it was just anything to shake up, just the boredom, because back in the day, if people got bored, people got too kind of complacent, too kind of comfortable in their life, you just went to war. It's just what you did. If you got bored and you're like, things are going pretty well, so what we're gonna do, we're just gonna conquer some more land from our neighbors. And we'll just shake it up a little, That's what happened. But the thing nowadays is that everybody's got like nukes and shit. Everybody's got like anthrax just in vats, ready to just unleash at the first possible moment. So, we've come into a situation where just the first person to declare war is just screwed. Because everybody's going to come after their ass, man. Just, with all... Because, everybody's been itching to use those nukes since they invented them. You better believe that, America got to cheat a little bit because they actually got to use a couple of theirs, But you better believe that, like, Russia and China and Iran and, I don't know, Israel and, Britain's probably got them by now, and North Korea, whatever, for sure that they've just been itching to use those things on somebody, anybody. It doesn't even have to be the enemy, man. We spent like billions of dollars to develop this shit. We're going to use them on somebody, So, so the first person to declare war is just screwed. That's just a given, it's probably like just like 100% just total decimation. You're just 100% land coverage of nukes on their land. They're screwed, That's just the way it is, So what that does is that it takes out the, really the possibility of a major kind of global conflict, Like, we're going to, when we have World War III, man, it's going to be like the last war because we're all going to kill each other, So the only way it makes sense is if you have like a civil war or something, something like that, so that they can't nuke you, So yeah, anyways, Breakmax, man. I was there talking to, I don't even know how I even got onto that. Oh yeah, just talking about some of the old Corona. So yeah, at the Breakmax, the guy was pretty interesting, pretty funny. And so then I sit down and I'm hunkering down for the long haul, blissfully ignorant to my near future where I'm just covered in snot. And I'm just sitting there. And really, I'm a bit concerned for the guy who was working there. because I called up the glass representative, and then I'm there at the actual break max, sitting down at the thing, and the kid who's just the guy who, I guess the kind of the cashier of sorts, and like just the guy who deals with the customers, the desk guy, he like a couple of times, man, within an hour, twice, he told me just like, hey, if anybody comes by, I really have to pee. Which kind of made me a bit concerned, man. Because once, whatever, everybody has to pee, But the second time came like 10 minutes later, man. It was like no joke. He was like, yeah, oh, again, man, could you just watch the desk, and if like anybody comes by, could you tell them that I just have to use the restroom, man, really bad. Which tells me two things, man. Either one, this guy has prostate cancer. He's a bit young. He was just a kid. Looks about my age. 19, 20 years old, somewhere around there. But, otherwise he's, like, I don't know, a meth addict. But I didn't get too much of a drug vibe off of him too much, Because if people are in it so deep that they have to call off and say they're going to the bathroom twice in an hour just to, like, get a hit, you better believe there's, I don't know, just at least in my experience from what I've seen, there's usually some manner of physical sign, which I didn't really see on him, so. But also, yeah, I'm like, I don't know anything about anything, so what do I know? Maybe he was, but, So that was a little concerning. I mean, he didn't need to do it for the rest of the time, but those two just back to back was kind of like, Well, it's either all that or he just drank just a ton of soda, just just before that. I used to get that way too, Like I remember, it actually hasn't really happened to me, really, for like I think a couple years, man. But yeah, I just remember, like I'd get a soda, like kind of, didn't even have to be one of the larger ones, just any kind of old soda. And I'd just, naturally, chug it all, because, I'm a heavyweight, don't mess with me, but, chug it all. And then I'd have to pee all the time, and it'd just be in waves, It'd be bizarre because I'd get down there, I'd start peeing, and it'd be over in like, 5 seconds. But I could still feel there was more pee in the bladder, or whatever, wherever the pee is stored. Stored in the balls. Fuck you. Wherever the pee is stored, I could feel that there was more in the tank, But it just, wouldn't come out. I don't know. I'm no biologist, but, I don't know. So I'm just, I'm always just there, and it'd take me like 6 goes, man, just to come close to clearing out the system. So yeah, anyways, that's too much information with Riky's podcast. So yeah, this there. And the break max was pretty chill. Watched some Year One. Pretty legit so far. Pretty faithful to the comic from what I can tell. Down to some of the, pretty sure they just straight up quote most of it. But, that was pretty cool, pretty chill. So that's happening. And then in the end, it was just kind of, whatever. The guy comes back, hands me back my key. Your car is in the front. Grab the car. And then I just spend the next just 5 minutes just frantically looking for napkins. Because my nose was just, just busted a pipe, man. Busted an absolute pipe. And also, again, side note here. But yeah, I hope these hard peas I'm hitting are, not as distracting as I'm afraid they might be, Let me know about all the sound stuff, any of the sound quality. Still haven't gotten a pop filter, so, it is what it is. You know, trying to think of what... This whole episode has just been my story of going to the Break Max and just my snot-filled rag of a mask, Maybe that's what I'll call the podcast, snot-filled rag of a mask. I might actually do it, man. Who knows? But, man... So, yeah, just frantically looking for napkins. I tried to wipe off what I could from the mask because I wasn't kidding, man. Literal pools in the mask. And I just had to, soak up as much as I could. Shredded through just 5 napkins just trying to clean out my mask. And, I mean, naturally it's snot, so you're not going to clean it off completely. And, of course, I gotten all kinds of stuff on my shirt and my pants. So, literally, it's like I had the type of runny nose where you needed a change of clothes afterwards, man. And on top of it all, I didn't eat breakfast that morning. And this all, this is all taken just 3 hours of total of just going to the first Break Max, doing the dye test, going to the second Break Max, getting the windshield replaced, just all that time, So, no breakfast. It was noon, and also no lunch at that point. So, I was hungry. I was snotty. I just felt disgusting, as you can imagine, So I just had one of those mornings, man. But I'll tell you what, though, it wasn't horrible. I mean, maybe you think it's sad, whatever, but it isn't really too sad. But, it's not the worst morning I've had. And, so I'm just I'm pretty grateful. I'm pretty grateful that this, my snot-filled rag of a mask is the worst thing that's happened to me today, Again, I tell you guys, I said before, I say it again, man, luckiest person of all time. And really, I mean, I know a lot of folks, most people I know, same deal, man. Just so lucky just to be living. Because how long has humanity been around? Something like 100,000 years or something? And how long have we had, how long have we had antibiotics? What, 100 years? Out of 100,000, I mean, how long have we had, just the basic necessities? How long have we had surgery? Or, treatment, any kind of medical treatment beyond just drilling a hole in your head and hoping for the best, man. How long have we had, technology of any kind? Just I'm talking just rock on a stick, How long have we had tools? Took us a while to figure that out. How long have we been able to live in peace without having to worry constantly of getting eaten by a saber-toothed tiger or something, or getting trampled by a mammoth? How long has it been since we've had supermarkets so that we don't have to go out there and just pray we find a mammoth to eat or some berries to eat, and also pray that those berries don't kill us, I mean, how long have we had all of this? Not that long. Not that long. I'll tell you what, man, it has not been that long. And that's just the basic stuff, much less just, how long have we had cars? Last 100 years or something? How long have we had planes? How long have we had, refrigerators to keep our food cool, How long have we had microwaves? How long have we had, iPods, It's only been 10 years for iPods, man. Or maybe 20. 10, 20 years, Only... It really has not, in the grand scheme of humanity, man, it has really not been that long. All of this technological advancements, man, and we had just happened to be born in the middle of it all, I mean, how lucky has that got to be, man? To not only be born a human, just the undisputed champion of nature, but to also be, living in 2020. Yeah, the coronavirus kind of sucks. and you can say what you want politically about, the social climate, but dude, just in terms of quality of life, man, you know, I mean, hands down, we're the luckiest generation ever. Think about what think about what the older folks had to do in like Vietnam and stuff, in Korea, had to fight like, serious wars. And I mean, that's not to say that the, soldiers now don't go through some horrific shit, but, because they do. But just to the scale of a conflict like Vietnam, man, I mean, like, to the point to where it's just like, half, all of your neighborhood's kids wind up being soldiers, just for it not to be to that point, Yeah, and I feel like something like this, conflict creates character, I think, in folks. You got to have some serious adversity to, develop as a human being, I think, So if it's not war, because we can't go to war, I mean, coronavirus, maybe it's the way to go about things. I don't know. I'm not too sure, man. It just seems like people are just getting bored, do some crazy stuff, but, anywho, not to go political on you guys, because, disclaimer, of course, I don't know anything about anything. I'm just a music guy. That's all I know how to do. That's all I'm good for. So everything I say it means nothing. So, so take that for what it is. But, but you know what they say, broken clocks strike twice a day. So sometimes I'm right, But man, so anyways, that was my visit to Breakmax. Damn, son, we just shredded through that podcast. It's already 47 minutes. Hands down, this is like the fastest a podcast has ever gone. Because, I mean, I think you guys could infer by, well, pretty much, a lot of times I'll tell you, like how much time's on the clock, man. Listen to like podcasts like, 1, 2, and 3. So all of them, pretty much. And I'm just reminding myself of the time, just like every 2 minutes, because it's like, all right, what else, I mean, and also last time, that was, not number 3, not the ones that you guys saw, but the lost episode. I'll just call it the lost episode. There'll probably be some other lost episodes along the way, but for now, at least, that's the lost episode, man. On the lost episode, man, that's basically, the whole podcast was just, all right, what else? Okay. Please, God, give me something to talk about, just the whole time. So thank goodness I came in here with some actual things that happened. And I think that's something, I don't remember what was in the lost episode that I mentioned, but, coming in here, with a podcast, if you're thinking of starting a podcast, looking for some advice from a guy who's only 4 episodes in, definitely you're going to want to come in with some notes, just come in with something, something written down either on paper or on your phone somewhere, just some kind of notes just to have, just in case things go bad, because it's a very real thing, man, where you're just there and you're balls deep and you don't want to, and you don't want to stop now because, you're already 30 minutes in, man. But you just don't have anything to talk about. And you're also weird because you're like, I got to make it to that hour, man. So yeah, definitely have as many as you can, man. You don't even have to use any of them. If you think of something to talk about, talk about that, It's better to be natural than to just go off of your notes, from what I can tell. But, worst comes to worst, you can't think of what to say, at least you have a safety net, is all I'm saying. So anyways, yeah, that's podcast advice from a guy who's only just started a podcast and has zero success. So, I've got one guy, you know. Yeah, shout out to, again, here it is. We're 4 for 4 for Justin references, but yeah, shout out my friend Justin, man. At this point, he's the only day one fan. Yeah. Yeah, man, he's the only guy that watches this stuff. At least some of it. Haven't checked the analytics in a while. I don't know how much he's seen. But at least he's seen some of it, is all I'm saying. So at least some of this is reaching somebody. It really is a shame that he'll probably never make it this deep into the podcast, but if you're listening, thanks, man. I really do appreciate it. I'm always giving Justin shit, man. Just all the time for, because he's flaky as hell, doesn't show up for things, he's forgetful, he's a god-awful liar, by the way, he can't lie for shit, and, but, truth is, man, he's really been a bro. It's really helped me out, especially like, I always think back to like my freshman year of college, man. That was just brutal, You go in and it's just like, it's a new place where it's like everybody you've ever known is gone, and, where you used to be like the best in the school, now you're the worst in the school. You're back down on the totem pole. I always find that people, you either love high school or you love college. I always feel like one of those two is going to be just your time. Just that is the time where you love it. So either, you grew up with all your friends in high school and you love them all to bits. And, and it's just, and by the time, by the time you're an upperclassman in high school, you're just the king of the world, You either have that or, you were, you're picked on in elementary school. Nobody respected you all the way through middle school. And just, and by the time you get to high school, just nobody cares about you. And then at that point, college is just a fresh start, You're no longer, Big Bertha, the whale, You're no longer that guy who, shat his pants in, 8th grade. You're just, you get to be a new person. So, anywho, I'm done with, getting all sentimental and stuff. I still haven't nailed that quite down, how to be, sincere and stuff. But, take it in baby steps. It doesn't all have to come out at once. This isn't a therapy session, even though sometimes it feels like it, but, I don't know. Should I cut that out? Nah, I'm not going to cut it out. Dude, I got to fight for every bit of time I can get on this bad boy. Because, as the lost episode can attest to, sometimes the material just isn't there, man. Sometimes it just isn't there. You just got to scrap it and start fresh. So anywho, this has been just a roller coaster of emotions. Just, but it's all cool, man. It's all good. It's all a good time. It's Friday, man. Oh my God. Thank goodness the week's over. I've still got a ton of stuff to do, but, at least I got just a couple days off to just reset, just kind of, have some time to just catch up on everything I want to do. Just have some time for myself, That's nice. But yeah, man. Ugh. So yes, housekeeping stuff. Don't know if I'm still going to get a pop filter. I'm still thinking about that. Because, honestly, I haven't listened back to too much of my podcasts in the past. I listened for a little bit, I'll dip in for like 20 minutes or so, but I've never listened to myself start to finish. It'd probably it's probably a good idea just to get a feel for, to get some things to be aware of for like pacing and stuff. But one thing I do notice while I'm just here, is that, I am noticing that my P's are kind of hitting, they hit pretty hard sometimes. And especially since, now that I'm on the podcast, I'm actually trying to enunciate. So, that leads to the P's just hitting just that much harder. So a pop filter, I might get it, or I might just make a DIY pop filter. I still haven't really decided yet. So one of those may or may not be coming. I may or may not get a guest on at some point. I've been in talks with my boy Justin. He seems pretty interested, at least a little interested. I don't know, But, so hopefully I can get him on for one of these just to kind of help me carry the podcast because this has been a good, I feel pretty okay about this one. It's just like I had something to talk about the whole time, and and it just all turned out okay. But I tell you, man, the last episode has made me realize that you've really got to come in with material, man. Otherwise, you are rude. So anywho, yeah. What's that? Possible guest, might get Justin on. If I'm getting another guest, I don't know who that would even be. Because, again, nobody listens to this podcast. So, I don't know. I don't know who I would get. But anywho. Let's see, pop filter, theme song music. Yeah, so let me know what you thought about the intro music. If you're listening, anybody who's listening. I've also got an outro song that will be playing at the end of the episode. So that'll be kind of cool. Kind of hip, I don't know. Yeah, so that'll be nice. So we got some intro and outro music coming at you for your dome, as DJ Khaled would say. And yeah, man. All right. We're creeping up on the last 2 minutes. Man, this has gone by pretty well. This has been fairly smooth, this episode. Pretty grateful. Pretty grateful I didn't have to scrap this one too, because it's always a bit disheartening, to just be, 30 minutes into a podcast only to realize that, man, like, this has to stop. I can't do this anymore, So luckily this one turned out okay. Unfortunately, I did delete the last episode, so there's no record of it anywhere. So if you're gonna, so unfortunately, years down the road when people are gonna be like, hey, yeah, put out the last episode, man, because, I don't know, we love your podcast so much, we just want to hear some last episode. Unfortunately, you're just not gonna be able to get it. I'm sorry, but look, I told you, you're not missing anything. It's just me just bombing for 30 minutes, and that's all it is, So I'm telling you right now, you're not missing anything. So at least, you guys have that going for you. But yeah, man, we're almost there. Yeah, I'm pretty happy I made it through this one. Pretty happy. I went through because these first 3 episodes, or the first 3 episodes, didn't have any notes, didn't have any preparation, just went in, flying by the seat of my pants, just winging it the whole time. And just kind of stumbled my way through it. This time I actually had a couple notes just to cover, I had to make sure to get through the whole, break max dealio. But yeah, I got to switch got some laundry. I got to switch over to the dryer because, as you can imagine, my mask, unfortunately, is the only mask I have, so I have to make it work. So I'm washing the mask, washing my clothes from today, just to get all that filth off, and then I'll be back at it, So, anywho, I think this is a good enough time. I'm not gonna be a hero. I've done my hour. Thank you guys so much. Anybody who's listening, appreciate you as always. And yeah, thank you very much. We're gonna have some outro music for you. So as soon as I'm done talking here, you'll get to hear that. All goes well, it'll be my outro music forever. Unless I think of something better. But for now, at least, yeah. Thank you guys, or guy. Still just one singular person watching. Thank you. You guys been great. Love you guys. Yeah. And, yeah. Oh, I almost forgot my YouTuber sign-off requirements to reminder, everybody. You gotta like, you gotta subscribe, you gotta ring that bell, you gotta comment, everything, It's all good, man. It's all great. Everything's great. You subscribe, boom, makes me just a little bit happier. Leave a comment, boom, as long as it's positive. No haters, please. I can't handle that. Leave a like, boom, instant gratification. Share with your friends, I guess. Do what you gotta do. But yeah, thank you guys. It's been great being here. This is Ricky signing off. Bye. Bye, guys. End of the podcast. It's the end of the podcast. Check back in next time, and we'll have some fun.